Chapter 9, Lesson 9, Combining Functions. Today we're going to be talking about taking two separate functions and combining them using either addition, subtraction, or multiplication. So when we are given two functions and we want to form a new function by addition or subtraction, we're going to stack the equations so that all the like terms are matched up, and you have to stack them as they're given. So the first equation you're given has to go on the top, and the second one has to go on the bottom. So for example 1 here, says given that f of x equals x plus 5, and g of x is negative 4x minus 1, and h of x is 2x squared plus 3x minus 7. Find each new function. So the first one wants me to add the f and the g function. So I'm going to start with the f function, which is 1x plus 5, and stack it over top of the g function, which is negative 4x minus 1. So making sure that my x terms are on top of each other and my whole numbers are on top of each other. And I'm going to be adding these. So I'm going to put little plus signs through the problem. So 1x plus negative 4x is negative 3x, and 5 plus negative 1 is 4. Now in number 2, they want me to subtract the two functions. So I have 1x plus 5, and the gx is negative 4x plus 1 again. And this time they want me to subtract them. So for the first one, I have 1 minus negative 4 becomes 5x. 5 minus negative 1 becomes plus 6. On number 3, they want me to add f and h. So the f function again is 1x plus 5. The h function is 2x squared, which my f function doesn't have an x squared, so I just put that kind of out front there. And then a 3x, which goes under my 1x, and a negative 7, which goes under my 5. Now what you can do is fill this in here with a 0 if you want. You don't have to, you can just leave it blank. But we are adding these. So nothing plus 2x squared stays 2x squared. 1x plus 3x is 4x. And 5 plus negative 7, negative 2. Number 4 wants me to take g, which is negative 4x minus 1, and subtract f, which is 1x plus 5. And I'm subtracting negative 4 minus 1, negative 5x, negative 1 minus 5, negative 6. Number 5 wants me to do g, which is negative 4x minus 1, and h, which is 2x squared plus 3x minus 7, which again, you can put a 0 here if you want, or you can leave it blank. These are being subtracted. So now I have 0 minus 2 becomes negative 2x squared. Negative 4 minus 3 becomes negative 7x. And negative 1 minus negative 7 becomes 6. On the next side, we are going to be multiplying two functions. So this first one says to take f, which is 6x plus 1, times it by g, which is 2x squared minus 1x minus 4. So this goes back into our either beginning of this chapter or the end of chapter 8, when I'm multiplying this 6x plus 1, which is a binomial, times my 2x squared minus 1x minus 4, which is a trinomial. So we're going to first distribute. So we'll start by distributing the 6x. So 6x times 2x is 12x to the third. 6x times negative 1x is negative 6x squared. And 6x times negative 4 is negative 24x. Now I need to distribute the 1 times 2x squared is 2x squared, and I put it underneath of its like term, which is the negative 6x squared. 1 times negative 1x, stacked underneath of its like term, and 1 times negative 4, negative 4. After we do distributive property, we combine like terms. So 12x squared. When I combine a negative 6 and a positive 2, it's negative 4x squared. Negative 24 and negative 1 is negative 25x, and nothing to combine with the negative 4. Number 12 asked me to take f, which is that 6x plus 1, times it by h, which is 3x plus 4. This is two binomials, which becomes a FOIL. 6x times 3x is 18x squared. 6x times 4, 24x. 1 times 3x, 3x. 1 times 4, 4. Combine like terms gives me 18x squared. 24 and 3 is 27 plus 4. Terrence deposits $650 into a new savings account and $3,250 into a new checking account. The savings account earns 1.5% interest compounded annually. Terrence has a $75 from his weekly paycheck direct deposited into his checking account. Write functions S of t and C of t to represent the amount of money Terrence has in his savings and checking accounts respectively after t years, assuming he makes no other withdrawals or deposits. So our savings account is our S of t. He starts with $650 and he earns 1.5% interest compounded annually. So this goes back to our, if we are earning interest, we have 100% of what we had in there before, and we're adding a new 1.5% for a total of 101.5%. Now we cannot put percents into our calculator, so we need to change it to a decimal, moving 2 places to the left. So this becomes times 1.015 t. For C of t, he starts with $3,250 and he deposits $75 every week. And we know that there's 52 weeks in a year, and it wants to know how much money he'd have after t years. This one is wrong. This should have been an exponent. This should have been to the t power because we're increasing a percentage. All right, find c minus s of t and explain the function represents. So c minus s of t would be 3250 plus, I'm going to simplify down the 75 times 52. 3,900 t, and they want me to minus my 650 times 1.015 t. Well, they're not really any like terms, so I probably could have just written it as one whole line with my 650 being subtracted from the end since there's no like terms. Explain what that means. So basically, C is my checking account. So it'd be my checking minus my savings. Mrs. Valencia has 220 feet of fencing that she will use to enclose a large rectangular area for her son's puppy. She will make the length of the rectangular enclosure X feet long. Write a function W of X that represents the width of the enclosure. So we know that the length of the enclosure is x, and we want to be able to find the width of the enclosure, but we don't know what the width is. We do, however, know that she has a total of 220 feet of fencing. So we know that 2x plus 2, we don't know, equals 220. So basically, we need a function for the question mark. Basically, we need to get the question mark by itself. So to get the question mark by itself, what I would do first is subtract the 2x. And then divide everything by 2. So the width of the fence would be negative 1x plus 110. Write a function a of x that represents the area of the enclosure. So this is negative 1x plus 110. And for area, I need to take length times width, which would become negative 1x squared plus 110x. Evaluate a of 65 and explain what that means. Negative 1 times 65 plus 110, 65. $29.25. And that means that if x, which is my length, is 65, the area will be 29.25.